And I was thinking about having her kind of use this as a prop. And let's just have you stand behind it. And I just want your hands just to kind of rest, just kind of like this, just kind of rest real softly right across the top of that. And John, that'll be our main light, and we'll bring that up pretty high. And and did I see you put together that little strip light?
Yeah, it's right there.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going to use the strip light on the same side. So I'm going to bring this guy back here in that strip light. But I got to spin these around because the words are upside down and it's making me insane. And John's doing that on purpose, and he's doing it on purpose. I know he is. So in this case, we've got this little strip light that's going to be my accent light. And it's, it's got a little grid in it. And you're going to love the effect of this little grid. It does a really nice job. And this is just going to be a sort of a classic, sort of a traditional, kind of a traditional portrait. And I love the look that we can get on this kind of a wall. And this is exactly as if I'm in somebody's studio. Sorry, I'm in the darkest hole in the studio, guys. Sorry. This is as if I'm in somebody's home, and I'm truly setting up in their living room or in their study or in their den. And this is exactly what I would do. I would go in there with a strip light to open up all of this part, a main light depending upon what I'm shooting, and then wherever the set is here, I would open all this up. And I don't want too much drama back here, but I do want to have some exposure back here. So I would probably take maybe one of these without the grid. Can I just hand you that for a sec? I would do this back here with no grid, bring the light out away a bit, and kind of let it flat light that wall. I just need some density back there. And I'll turn that down to 1. And we should be pretty close to ready to go there. Let me just move this out of the way so I can go horizontal if I need to. But you get preconceived notions. I know for years and years and years I would never shoot a vertical type photograph in a horizontal position with my camera. And yet I'm finding in my old age that I really like horizontal looks of people standing and horizontal compositions of vertical things. So I'm kind of growing and expanding. And I think, as we all change and as we all grow and as we all age, our tastes sort of change. So we don't stay in the same rut. We do things differently. I've had people call me and say, I can't believe that was one of your pictures. Well, I'm not the same guy I was 12 years ago or 8 years ago. Even a year ago. I'm shooting different pictures now than I shot a year ago, I think. So I think we have to always continue to try to strive to do that and kind of keep ourselves active and change things up. This is looking really nice, you guys. This is looking really nice. I think maybe just a tiny bit more there. Yep, perfect, perfect, perfect. And just go ahead and let your hips go that way again, the other way. That way, yeah, yep, yep. And your weight on your left foot. And let your right foot just point way out there and just kind of drag your foot in right there, freeze. Perfect. And just bring your head to me just a little, right there. Right there. Boy, that looks nice. What do you got on the main light?
About 8 1/3.
Why don't we go,
now.
I want to take it up a little bit higher. Let's get up closer to 11 if we can. And I just really want to make sure that this is good and crisp and sharp. And I know a lot of portrait people really like to go for the f5.6 area and really have just a great portrait look. But when I'm in someone's home like this, I want to make sure that I don't miss sharpness on anything. And so if I can pop it up a little bit sharper, a little bit higher, I'll do that often. Okay?
11.
John, way to go, John. 11. What about back there in the back? How are we doing?
That is at about 5.6.
5.6 on that one? Okay, and what about the background with the overall
Yeah.
background light going off?
4.
Aim it back toward this. Did you aim it at this light over here?
Yeah.
Okay, so then let's pop that up +2.
Yep. 4.
Let's just aim it up.
2 stops?
+2, yeah.
Oh, it was down on their end.
Yeah, so we'll go up to,
Let's see what that
there you
is.
go. There you go.
Is this behind
We're
it?
almost there.
8.5.
Oh, that's perfect. So that's a half stop below what I'm shooting at. And that's the thing that I've got to think about. I don't want to think about the numbers as much as we mentioned this yesterday. I want to think about the pluses and the minuses. Okay, so plus and minus is a huge deal with me. And it's just a lot easier way to work. Okay, so let me just get back right about here and take a look here and see how this is coming together in here. Great. So thanks for the crew for putting this light in this set back there in the background. That's looking really nice. So we're at 11. We're at ISO 200 in the studio.
Yep.
Good, 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 good. So we're a little hot in the background, and so we want to pull that down some. I think it's just, it's at least a stop too hot. Maybe a stop and a half even. It's pretty hot back there. I guess we're right on the incident angle to it too, so we're getting a little bit of the hot spot. And you know what, just for fun, John, I think let's go ahead and put that slight, not the full CTO, but just a slight, a quarter or a half CTO, and just let it drop over that background light just to soften that up a little bit and warm it up a little bit. Now, we also can always, now right there, our daylight balance gives us the true skin and the true look of the garment she's wearing, and everything is true. If you like warmth, I'm going to do the same picture real quick, and I'm just going to change the color balance to cloudy. Well, I'm going to go shady here, just to warm it up just a little bit, and let's just see the difference. And it may be the difference that you like, and it might be you want to do this to give you a little bit warmer skin tone. What I find is that there's an awful lot of people that like warmer pictures and not very many people that like cooler pictures. So for that reason, I'll often change how I'm shooting something based on just adding a little bit of warmth. So I'll leave this on the warmer setting, and we've added the extra warmth on the background. So she's going to stay for the next picture exactly as she is in this shot, but the background will be a little bit warmer. And I think it's a little bit more inviting if it's warmer. Just for fun, John, can we bring that background light just a half step closer to her? It won't be in the shot, but what I'm trying to do is soften that shadow. Not soften, but kind of just a tiny bit more. Right there. There you go. I'm just trying to keep that shadow that's back there from the plant is a little bit too much that one direction. So I'm just trying to eke into that just a tiny bit. Great. Great, great, great. This looks nice. Good. Yeah, so now that's, now we're starting to look like we're in somebody's home a little bit. It'll be a little bit more warm and inviting. Let's turn your shoulders away from me just a little bit. Come back, that's pretty good there. And now bring your head way around. In fact, leave your left hand on the back of the chair and let your right hand just come down and kind of turn backwards like that for me. Yep, just like that. Yep. Nice, nice, nice. Do this, run your fingers through your hair one time on the right side especially. There you go. There you go, good. Bring your head around. Perfect, right there. Great. I'm liking what's happening back there, John, with that accent. Can you just bring the main light towards you a half step? There you go, right there. There you go, there you go. Great. She's very elegant looking. I am going to need to come back just a tiny bit further, guys. Sorry. Just for one shot here so I can zoom. Here's the thing, and I talked about this once before, and one of you commented on it the first day here. Most lenses have the same perspective. And so what I mean by that statement is if I'm going to do a headshot of her with a 50 millimeter lens, let's say I'm going to do a 3/4 length or a headshot right here, 50 millimeter lens on my camera. So I'm going to shoot from here to here with my 50. Well, I'm going to be standing probably about here, right? But when I shoot that, I'm probably going to see a little bit of that strip light and a little bit of this edge of this background light because of the angle of coverage. Okay, so in most cases then you would switch and put on a 200 millimeter lens. Let's say I put on my 200 and I back up and I'm back in this position and now I'm shooting with a 200 millimeter lens and now I'm not seeing that strip light and I'm not seeing that, I'm seeing just this compressed background area behind her. Perfect. Okay, so now let's fast forward to the day you show up on the location and you forgot your 200. So all you've got is your 50 and you're like, ugh. Right, so here's what you do. You leave your 50 on, you back up to where you would be standing as if you had your 200, and you take a picture. And you're seeing everything in the studio. But when you crop into the headshot, you get the exact same shot you would with the 200. Did you know that? It has to do with where you're standing. It has to do with where your feet are placed. The lenses have the same perspective if you're in the same position. So when you're on a shoot, and when you're on a sports shoot, and you're trying to get a longer look to your lens, crop in. Go to where you would if you were shooting with a longer lens, and then crop. And then there's the argument, well, then it's going to get noisy, and then it's going to get, I know, but why, you know. Can't have everything.
Everything's a compromise.
Everything's a compromise, you know? Yeah.
Hey, Tony, we have some people, Micron Crespo is wondering what effect this strip light is having, and maybe we could turn that off and show the difference.
Yeah, so let's kill the modeling light on, John, just do this first. Before we do that, kill the modeling light on the main light. So we can see from back here, from camera's position, you can get a good look at what the accent light is doing. Bring your head around to the light source for me, come back just a little bit, right there. I want to be careful with my placement of it so that it doesn't hit the tip of the nose. But all it's doing is trying to help outline and separate her from the background a little bit. That's its only job, is to give a little bit more dimension to the photograph.
It's basically the same thing we were doing with the round grid, except that was just on the head, and this is going to stretch the body.
Yeah, it kind of elongates and comes all the way down. In fact, it is down a little. We could probably pop it up plus one more stop and get a little bit more strength out of it, and we'll see it a little bit easier. But it's in a good placement back there for, and the thing about the grid spots is, with a grid, whether you're using a soft grid like this or a small, the hard grid, be very, very aware that if you get a little bit off access to the light, your light changes and falls off quickly. So the placement of it is pretty critical. Where you place that light it's a pretty big deal. Okay? So let me just double check that. Go that way just a tiny bit with it, John. Just
Spin it or pull
spin
it?
it? Spin, yeah, just rotate. Right, go back in a half an inch. There you go, there you go. So we should be good there. So let's take another look at that. And you can bring that guy back up. Yipper. So my point with the lens discussion there was I needed to back up a little bit so I could zoom in a little bit more with my longer lens so I could get rid of the edge of this gel on this head right here. That was my point. In fact, one tip that you can get in the habit of doing, and John will love me for showing him this one, just if you're going to tape it anyway, tape it on the sides so the tips go up and down instead of stick out. You can get 3 more inches closer. Okay, let's take a look here and see what we got. Okay, my dear, you're looking pretty good. She looks pretty good. Don't you guys like her? Isn't she great? She's like, oh, Tony, stop. Just bring your hand up a little higher on your left hand, sorry. Yep, there you go. And just rest it real easy there. Perfect. Beauty. And let me just make sure. When you do have horizontal lines, you do kind of want them to be pretty true and level. You know, I'm pretty good about letting diagonals take over a lot. But when there's something that's horizontal that's supposed to be horizontal, I kind of need it to be horizontal. You know, we're going to save that for the next section, I think. But I do want to do one more of these with a little bit of a fill. Is that little card still here?
Yeah. Right.
If you could grab that card and let's just fill in her shadow just a bit, I think that would be real nice. And then we'll do one more without that gel. Oh, that's good. Do that again. That looked nice. Yeah. But I want to just get your shoulders a little bit off axis and bring your head back to me right there.
Am I in the shot?
Nope, you're good.
Okay.
Great. Right there. Good. Now, same thing with just a little sparkle in your eyes on this one. Your eyes right at me. Good. I want to do one thing. John, you can stay where you are for just a second. I just want to raise the level of that grid, and I'm just going to, I want a little bit more in her hair. Let me take that down just a bit. And I'm going to give it just a tiny bit more output, but I'm going to take it up just a little bit higher. Just kind of like that. And again, you know, you kind of fine tune, you refine, you tweak. My friend Clay Blackmore is always saying, you shoot, you refine. You light, you refine, you shoot. You light, refine, and shoot. And I think that I learn a lot from other photographers. We all do. We all learn from each other. And I'll be listening to somebody speak at some conference, and I'll think, I never thought of doing that. You know, so it's great. We all have to learn. I mean, I learned stuff from Joel Grimes, who's coming up tomorrow. I learn from that guy all the time. All these people are really talented folks. Good, 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 good. I'm liking that. I'm liking that a lot. Can we zoom in on the face on this one? I just want to get a good look on her face. We can just kind of check that out. Here we go. There we go. What do you think, guys? It's kind of a classic look. And again, now look at if we can go in a little bit closer, Mike, and just look at our eyes for just a second. So you can kind of see that the position of the highlight is right at 10 o'clock, 10 to 11 o'clock, which is, basically that gets back to our 45-degree lighting. And I think that's kind of what we're after here. And you can go ahead and pull back a little bit with that. I think that'd be great. So again, my lens is my 7200. It's the f4 lens, and I can trim up that exposure. I mean that composition. I'll tighten that up on the right side a little bit. I got a little bit too much negative space there. I can straighten that up a little bit. And I'll also do one. I'm going to flip this around, do a couple that are vertical as well.
You mentioned you wanted to take the gel off or not?
Not yet. In just a second. Yep. Yep. Give me just a second, and we'll do that. This ball head that I'm using, several people have asked about this. I made the mistake of checking my email last night. Oh my gosh, do I? When you're on Creative Live, boy, do you generate a lot of email. And boy, can you not get through it. So for those of you that wrote questions from yesterday, I promise I'm going to answer every one of them, but I'm not going to do it today. But one of the questions was, several people asked about this ball head that I'm using. And this is called, it's from a company called Really Right Stuff. It's very expensive. It's a precision tool that it's the best present I bought for myself in years. It's called the LH55 is the ball head. And it's just a great setup.
And that information is on the gear list, which is available for free. If you enroll in the course, it is on the course page, so check that out.
I forgot that. Yes, it is. Okay, here we go. Good, good, good. Great. Just bring your hand, can you just move closer to your hands? And just bring your hands up a tiny bit higher. Right. So here's what I just did. See where her arm is? Look where her right arm comes down across her hip. Okay? Now let's do the exact same picture, and your arms are in a much better place right now. So stay right where you are. Can you just push your left elbow out a little bit? Yep, right there, and turn your head in just a bit right there. Great. Now put these two side by side and blow on the screen. There we go. Now put those two side by side, and can you see how much weight we've taken off by getting that air between her arm and her hips and her waist? I can see her shape a little bit better. It just really helps to not make her too thick by getting her arms out a little bit, I think. I think it just helps. Small, subtle thing. And this is one of those, this portrait I think would also look nice in black and white. I think this is one of those that would work pretty well. I want to do a couple more here real quick. Great, great, great. And this time, just bring your hands together like this and just real kind of softly. In fact, let's do one without that stool. Let me get rid of that stool. And let's turn you toward the light source just a little bit this time. I'm going to go against what I said about lighting flat into the chest, and we're going to light flat into the chest, just because. And for this time, I want you to just let your fingers kind of go down like that, and just fold one foot over the other, whatever's comfortable for you. And then just bring your head right into the camera. And this is just like right down the barrel, so to speak. Okay? And you look fantastic. Great, great, great. I better level this a little bit. The good news about that brick wall back there is you got some horizontal lines you can level to. Okay, so now, John, so as close as you are, just pull off the gel on that background light. Yep. And let's do one more. And then we're going to take a couple of questions before we change this up a little bit. Okay, here we go. Good, good, good. Great. One more of those with a little smile on your face, perhaps like you're enjoying this. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, good. Relax for just a second. Okay, we had a couple of questions out here, I think.
Yes, I do. When I photograph the sports or for the paper, my shot put girls and my wrestling girls, they're usually 200 pounds. Mm-hmm. And they don't like putting out their arms because they have the bat wings as long as their muscles.
Sure.
So for a girl like that who would want a more of a glamour shot for a senior shot in her gear, how would I put her arms? Because she doesn't want to do the...
Are you in a controlled situation like in a studio or something?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing to do is elevate your camera position. Mm-hmm. Get your camera at a higher position. People that are a little bit heavy, kind of like me, we will look better instead of this position. We'll almost always look better if we are leaned forward this position, and it will help if you can raise your camera up to that position. Also, if you can raise your light source up a bit,
Raise the light source.
will
up.
always
Okay.
help
Okay.
to slenderize a little bit.
Awesome.
And remember, there's always there's a short side of the face and a broad side of the face. And let me show you what I mean by that. There's in the old days of learning traditional portraiture, your light in a directional light source like this comes from one of two ways. It's either broad light or short light. And let me see if I can define the difference for you. So if I bring this light around to here, from here, let's just turn your head that way for me. Right there. Okay, so, well, come back to me just a little bit, right there. From my camera's position, if I look at her face, turn your head just a tiny bit more. Sorry. And in fact, I'm just going to move this back where it was because I'm a goober and decided to do it the other way. From this position, if I look at her face, from her nose to her ear, on this side, it's about that far. On this side, right there, it's like this. From her nose to her ear is about that distance. On the other side of her face, from her nose to her ear is about that far. Got it? You see what I mean? Come stand right here. Just get up here. Come on. This is your idea. It's not my idea. So just look, turn your head just a tiny bit, right there. So look right here, from there to there. You see see that distance?
Uh-huh.
Okay, now see the distance here? Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So there, it's only that far
Am I looking
to that
at the
ear.
light or the shadow?
Forget the light and the shadow. Just look at her nose.
Okay.
Just the width of her face. From here, I've got that much width of her face. From here, I've got that much width of her face.
Broad and short.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So there's a wait. I'm just getting started. There's a broad. What I'm trying to tell you is there's a broad side of a face and a short side of the face
All right.
when they're turned away from the camera.
Okay.
Okay. That's step one. We've identified that. There's a broad side and a short side. Now, if you light from the short side, you can slenderize people's faces. If you light from the broad side, you will add weight to their faces.
Okay.
So here's what I'm talking about. Right here, if she's turned this way, I'm lighting her from the shorter side of her face because it's coming from the side over there where there's only about that much width.
Okay.
Now, if you just turn your head right here, turn, right there, now I'm lighting the broad side of her face. Because now the short side is over here, which is only that wide, but this side is that wide. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Is anybody out there going, what the hell is he talking about?
Well,
I mean, can I get that point across? Is everybody getting that?
Yeah.
Here's the thing to think about. Broad lighting is great for adding weight to people that are trim and have narrow faces.
Okay.
Short lighting is great for almost anybody in almost any situation and is really good about slenderizing faces. But it's not good about adding weight to faces. And here's a trick that I figured out a few years ago. If you want to know which one you're doing and you can't figure it out, how do I get short lighting? It's real simple. Put the nose of your subject between the camera and the main light.
Okay.
That'll always give you short lighting.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Love it. Love it. And we do have KT James' photo who says that's actually one of the best descriptions of broad and short light I've ever heard. So it definitely worked.
Good. Okay.
So let's move on. Question about, we have so very, very many questions about the shadows. Specifically the shadows on the wall from the plant,
Yeah.
being that the background light is coming from one direction and the key light is coming from another direction. Does that bother you at all? And then also, is there a way to get rid of those shadows?
Yeah, it doesn't bother me, but in a working situation in somebody's home in a real shoot, I would fix that. And I would fix that by probably lighting that background up with a couple of umbrellas, maybe up pretty high from back here so that the shadows will cancel each other out. I think that's a pretty fair question and probably a pretty fair response, which is I would fix it. And you can sometimes do that with the ambient light level. You know, if there's ambient light in the room sufficient enough to light the background, the trick is always just turn off the modeling light on the main light, shoot at a slower shutter speed, and let that background come up. And so when you do that, then it does give you a light in the background that sort of was intended by whoever designed the interior of the house anyway. So yeah, so the answer is it's a great point, and yes, I would probably fix it in a real situation. It's going to take me 20 minutes to fix it here, and I don't want to take the 20 minutes, but yeah. I would grab another light, pull out another umbrella, light it up, and take care of it. Great question.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tony. Pro photographer would like to know, under what circumstances would you use multiple accent lights, and do you ever do that?
Yeah, in about 2 hours. Stand by, we're heading that direction after lunch.
Okay, awesome.
For sure we are. We're gonna do multiple accents. Yeah.
Fantastic. Any other questions here in the room? Okay. Good.
I'm
Do you
ready.
have one?
I am
Go ahead
ready
and
to
take
go.
one.
Yes.
Go and take one.
So, Tony, it's sometimes a little bit tricky for people online to see the distances that you have the camera to the model and then to the back. Could you talk about those distances and why you make those choices?
Yeah,
a little bit?
there's not a consistent and sort of a set distance. For me, I'm a little different than a lot of people. I will always try to work with the longest lens I can get away with because I just think the face looks better in a portrait situation. In fact, if my studio was in a 80-foot long mobile home, I would be happy because it would be very long and I could back up and shoot full length with a 300 because I love the look of a long lens. And so I'll almost always get myself as far away from my background, as far away from my model as I can. Now, having said that, I'll almost always work with my model as far away from the backdrop as I can as well. And the reason for that is I can do things back there. If you back up 2 feet for me, 2 or 3 feet. So right there, she's about 6 feet from the background. Well, I'm very limited to what I can do back there because there's not much space. I can't get back here. I can't get back in here with an accent and light this part of her face without it being in the shot. But if she's further away from the background, I can. And so for me, sorry, I walked in the dark hole again. For me, it's about having her as far away as I can. And I know I started in a small studio. I understand when you don't have much space. But I would rather have my back against a wall and be in a corner where I'm all cramped up than have lots of space around me and not have the length that I want. So I would absolutely, in this room, this is a big room. If we were shooting for real in this room and not on live, I would take her and me and we would head that way, and this would still be my backdrop, but I'd have her 20 feet away from that wall because I can do much more stuff behind her. I can put reflectors in place. I can have more accents. I can do more with the background. I can do all kinds of stuff. And I would do that in that situation. Anytime I can get further away from the wall, I will. And I will always try to work myself away from her as far as I can, just because I think it looks great on the face. You know, that's good enough reason for me.